Every time Notre Dame plays the blue-gold game here at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, all eyes typically are on the quarterbacks. Today, about 37,000, I believe it was, 38,000 fans here on a chilly day in South Bend probably liked what they saw from Notre Dame signal callers. Blue team 28, gold team 21. That's less significant than what those three quarterbacks, Steve Angeli, Kenny Minchey, CJ Carr, did today. We'll get to some numbers from those three guys in a minute, but Jack, I'm just going to start you off right there. What did we see from those guys today?
Yeah, they all look good, particularly in the second half, I thought. They really turned it up a notch after halftime. None of them were perfect. They all had their flaws. Steve Angeli missed a couple throws, was late in a couple throws early. Kenny Minchey had an interception that shouldn't have been thrown. CJ Carr almost had an interception if Deion Coles didn't knock it away. But with the bad came a lot of good. A lot of good today from those three quarterbacks. Steve Angeli, 2 touchdown passes, including the game winner, a 62-yarder to Chris Mitchell deep down the right sideline. Kenny Minchey, a couple beautiful throws, and CJ Carr, the ball just comes out of his hands differently. He's so poised and so aware and moves so well in the pocket, and all those other adjectives that you can think of that true freshmen in early enrollees typically don't do. He looked really good. Kenny Minchey had some great moments and did some great things with his legs too. Steve Angeli, really good game, especially in the second half. This quarterback room is in as healthy of a spot as it's been in a long time here in South Bend. And the fact of the matter is, one of these guys is probably finishing their career as a starting quarterback on a different team. It's just the reality in the transfer portal age, and it's a good problem to have for Notre Dame.
Healthy is obviously a little bit of an oxymoron there because we saw Riley Leonard not healthy, not fully healthy. He told us probably a few weeks ago now that if this was August 31st and they were playing Texas A&M, maybe he plays in that game. There's obviously no need for him to play in this blue gold game, so he kind of did what he did last Saturday. We told you guys about that. Ghost reps behind the line of scrimmage. He was standing probably within a 5 to 10 yard radius of Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman for this entire thing here today, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like it doesn't matter if it was blue team or gold team, he was right there getting the play, wearing a headset, so he knew everything that was going on there. Getting back to the guys that actually did play in this game, I agree with you, and it's kind of been my premise on this Notre Dame quarterback group for the entirety of this offseason, ever since Riley Leonard came in, and CJ Carr obviously as a true freshman. They all bring a little bit different, and the upside is also intriguing for all of them. Steve Angeli, I think somebody said it best either on our message board or on social media, whatever it was. He never really wows you, but at the end of the day, Jack, let's pull up his stats here. He just has a solid stat line, and again, he didn't even play the entire thing because C.J. Carr took some of his reps today, but what was he?
Yeah, 17 for 25, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did take 3 sacks, but that's more of a defensive line is just so much deeper on this team. It's not an issue unique to Notre Dame, but the defensive line really had its way with the offensive line today on both teams, I would say. But still, I mean, Steve Angeli, the numbers are good. The eye tests look good. Again, a couple misses. He had a bad one to Eli Raridan early in the game, but after he kind of settled in and started trusting his stuff, trusting his receivers, he looked good. I thought he looked really good, especially in that second half. And I think you said it best that the fact of the matter is Riley Leonard is probably going to be this team's starting quarterback. But unlike last year, when Sam Hartman was playing, I'm not saying they would have benched Sam Hartman with this year's quarterback situation, but Riley Leonard's going to have a shorter leash than Sam Hartman did, if nothing else, because of how talented these 2 or 3 guys, depending if one of them hits the portal this in the spring window in the next week or so.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the one to say it, but you just did, and everyone else and their mother is saying it. The portal is open, and it's a possibility that one of these guys jumps in there because based on what we saw today, and again, I'll steal whatever someone said on social media or the message board, Kenny Minchey could probably go and start somewhere. Because
Angeli definitely could too.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with everything that you said on Angeli, and I kind of opened that conversation with what I'll end it with. He just puts together a good stat line and a winning football performance at the end of it all. That's what he did again today. Kenny Minchey gets the loss, but I think Kenny Minchey did some things today that the 2 other guys did not. That was particularly rushing the football. 6 rushes, 40 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdown was purposeful to keep it in Minchey's hands in a red zone situation, and he ends up following a really good lead block into the end zone. I think he's cerebral in that way. He knows when to run, and then he knows how to run. He was live today. He took some hits from Notre Dame defensive players, but he seemed to relish that and say, hey, this is part of the game and this is part of my game. I can do this really well. He might have the most unique arm talent, maybe the strongest arm. I'll kick it to you on that. I don't know how to put it, but some of his throwaways today and even his interception, he probably shouldn't have thrown that ball up, but he did it because he knows he can. Like the arm talent is there with him, right?
Yeah, Tyler, the arm talent is certainly there. And the making plays with his legs, we looked at the rosters before this game. The goal team did not have the better group of skill position players, and I think everyone knew that coming in. And we looked at this and we're like, Kenny Minchey's going to have to engineer some drives by scrambling, and he did that. The first touchdown drive was pretty much all Kenny Minchey and a good amount of Jabron Payne as well. He scrambled. He had that touchdown on kind of a QB sweep option type play. That's the kind of thing that's going to appeal to either Notre Dame down the line or some other team in the near future.
All right, let's move on to CJ Carr now because we're spending this entire video talking about quarterbacks, and we will talk about some other things as well. Like you said earlier, ball comes out of his hand differently. I would call it zip, velocity, whatever word you want to use in that realm. He has it, and then it's kind of like with Minchey. I said it. He knows how to get to it and then use it. There are some plays where CJ Carr manipulates himself out of the pocket, steps up in the pocket, maneuvers in the pocket, whatever it is, and then he zips the ball. I thought he was quite impressive today.
I thought he was too. And look, there were a couple times when he kind of maneuvered out of the pocket where I thought he should have taken something easy earlier. And he'll learn how to do that as he goes through. And again, he is so young. He should be in high school right now. Yeah. It's something that it's easy to forget when you watch CJ Carr play and you talk to him after practice. I mean, he's a really, really impressive young dude. Yeah, there's not much more to say about him. Again, he played for both teams, played very well, had that one throw that should have been picked. Otherwise, I don't think he made a huge mistake throughout that game. Again, this is a very, very talented quarterback room from top to bottom. Regardless if either Steve Angeli or Kenny Minchey hits the transfer portal at some point in, again, I think the next 10 days. So we'll know where they stand after the next 10 days. Regardless, this is a really, really good quarterback room.
Sometimes you get into these spring games and you just want the darn thing to end. For me, this wasn't really the case. Yeah. CJ Carr had the ball in his hands at the end of the game for the goal team, trying to go tie it up, maybe win it with a 2-point conversion, whatever the coaching staff would have elected to do. And for a change, it felt like he was going to do it. It wasn't, this thing's going to end, and that's it. That's the end of the game. CJ Carr gets the ball across midfield, and you thought maybe he'll go down there and win the game. Eventually, that was not the case. Like we said, 28-21. Let's talk about some of the other ways that this got there. Micah Gilbert, 2 touchdowns. I think he tied the game 21-21 on his second. And then Chris Mitchell, the new wide receiver from Florida International, ends up having the game-winning touchdown on what he called in the post-game press conference a little double move. And I turned to you and I said, that was putting it politely. He put walk-on Isaiah Dunn onto the turf. He was wide open, and the ball came his way. He caught it, got into the end zone, and that was that. All of that to say, some pretty good outings from the wide receivers today. Yeah,
good outings from the wide receivers. We mentioned Chris Mitchell. You mentioned Micah Gilbert. Deion Colsey made a couple plays. Jaden Greathouse made a couple plays. I thought he was open on a couple other plays where he should have been hit. Wasn't. It happens.
Dropped a pass too, that happens.
Did drop a pass as well. But looking at some of the numbers, pretty evenly distributed. Jeremiah Love had 5 catches for 41 yards.
Eli Raridan, I don't know if we mentioned him yet.
Eli Raridan had a good day. Jack Larson, the freshman tight end, had a pretty good day as well.
Cooper Flanagan made some catches. Yeah. There's options here.
There's plenty of options here. Good day for the pass catchers. Really good day for the pass rushers. R.J. Oben had a strip sack and he forced another fumble that was called down. They're not going to go to video review in the blue gold game, but if this was a real game and they would have ruled that walk-on running back Justin Fisher did have that ball ripped out by Oben, so he forced 2 fumbles in this game. Bryce Young forced a fumble, the freshman defensive end. Boubacar Traore, as he always is, whenever we watch practice, it was all over the field, all over the backfield. Jason Anye had 2 sacks for the goal team, and Al Washington.
A beast today.
Al Washington, unprompted, shouted him out after the spring game. Much like the wide receiver room, and I think it's more real because it's more proven in the defensive line room. There's just waves of options that Notre Dame can throw at you.
And then we'll kind of talk about the linebackers for a minute. Kingston Viliamu-Asa is real, and I think he's going to make an impact in year 1 as a linebacker at Notre Dame. That doesn't happen all the time. Drake Bowen, the sophomore, I think he is a very good player as well. showed it here today. Jack Kaiser, we joked in the press box, I don't know if he actually played. We'll have to go back and look. But he stood on the sideline for most of this, and I thought that was a testament to Notre Dame liking what it has in the middle of its defense for both of these teams, really. Never did I look out there and say, this team's going to get eaten up because it has these linebackers on the field. That wasn't the case. A lot of young guys, but a lot of young guys who are ready to play. Can kind of say the same thing about the secondary, too. I know you look up and there's 49 points in this game, and that's more than in blue gold games past. I mean, heck, one team didn't even score last year. The year before that, I think it was a 10-7 ball game. Steve Angeli wins it on a buzzer beater of sorts. So there were a lot of points today, but I thought defensively, you mentioned the pass rushing was really good. I thought overall, the defenses played well too. It was just a good football game, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, very entertaining football game. The blue team won in large part because they forced 3 turnovers. It was a Luke Talich interception on a ball that Kenny Minchey probably shouldn't have thrown. It was tight coverage by Bone, who we mentioned as someone who stood out. Another turnover, the strip sack from R.J. Oben at the end of the first half. Bryce Young forced a fumble on Jabron Payne, recovered by Talich, so he contributed to 2 takeaways. Good defense. Good off. It was just a really well played and entertaining football game, and I think that's what the spring game is and should be all about. It's about fun for fans to watch, fun for the players to play, some good competition, and a really nice way to close out spring practice.
Yeah, I'll end it right there. Overall, there are some spring games you go into the off season or the summer thinking, man, I don't like what I saw. I don't know about this. I don't know about that. And there are still questions about this Notre Dame football team, and we'll surely write about them all summer long. But by and large, leaving Notre Dame Stadium today, I'm saying, okay, Riley Leonard didn't even play, and I like a lot of things about this Notre Dame football team. So, again, like I said, go to blueandgold.com for the coverage of this game. Keep it right here on the YouTube channel all summer long because we will have you guys covered.